Hello, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, with quite a few boxes here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, plus these two little guys, which I want to kind of go over here. All right, so first off, I want to remind everybody to like and subscribe and do all the other jazz. I have a lot of subscribers that are my students, so I just wanted to kind of a shout out to them and say thank you guys for doing that. And I thank you for, I will say, you guys that do watch, you do a great job of leaving that out of our classroom and letting me do my job as a teacher, and I do appreciate that. And I just wanted to send a thank you out on the air to you guys as well. So a shout out to all the students from Hunterdon Central, as well as the feeder systems that feed. So thank you very much. Now I want to go on with some unboxings here. These are, again, the way things work in this new day and age is items that have come shipped. Things that I ordered 3 months ago, 5 months ago, maybe a year ago. I will say Hasbro is, and the other fan channels and or fan sites and stuff are doing a much better job of getting the stuff out quicker, which is good. Now you'll notice on here there's some vintage stuff and there is some Black Series stuff. I have pulled back seriously on the Black Series. I won't deny that, but you'll still see some Black Series unboxings, either characters that I just really like, or characters that I intend to replace versions of them, and I'll explain that, what I mean by that, in my collection moving forward. But the first thing I want to talk about are these two little guys. All right, let's bring these guys up in the forefront here. So I was really excited to go into my local Walmart and see that there was an actual cardboard kiosk of Star Wars devoted strictly to Star Wars. Now it was a lot of Black Series, which I had no interest in getting pretty much any of it except for maybe 1 or 2, which I already had on order, and it had a lot of other things like sabers for kids, definitely more a point of purchase sale for young children. All right, which I'm totally down with. I totally get, and I know that Hasbro has to do that. I understand how marketing and business works, and marketing toys are generally marketed more to children than collectors, so I'm fine with that. But every so often they come out with something that, I don't know if it's ever going to see. Like, people who know me know that my channel is watch my channel know that my collection is ever evolving. There are things that come in and there are things that go out. I have a huge pile that is getting ready to go in the next Star Wars yard sale. It's gonna happen, not until the summer, so it's about 8 months away. But I'm slowly building it up even more, just so that when the time comes, I can just get it out there and start doing it. But there are things that I still like to bring into the collection just to kind of have, and these two little guys are part of it. These are, I guess they're called Droidables. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to take them out of their boxes. I'm not 100% sure whose idea this was, but I like it because to me, it has a feel of I'm trying to do this without cutting myself here. It has a feel of something really akin to, there were these, oh, he just made a noise. It was a dashboard thing, something that you put on your actual dashboard. And it wasn't much. It was just a cute little thing. Now, it comes with a little instruction thing. I just want to see if there's something here I'm supposed to do with it. So basically it is alright, it has a bunch of responses, and it all has to do with how you kind of shape the head. So if you bring the head forward, let's see if we get a little closer to let me put Chopper down a minute, so I'll see him get close to my mic. And then if you tilt it sideways, so you don't want to shake him up too much, but he's just so cute. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put him in my car, maybe get a little double stick tape and stick him on the dashboard, so I can just kind of tap him on the head. It's a little bit weird. You got to kind of have to beat him up a little bit, so that's a little strange, but I just think he's so cute with his little oversized head. It's kind of like a bobblehead, but something a little more interesting. Now that's R2, okay, and R2's great, but Chopper, I love how Dave Filoni describes Chopper. When Rebels first came out, he was kind of going through what kind of droid is Chopper like. And he said, like, if R2 represents everybody, the family dog that everybody loves, Chopper is a cat. And as someone who owns a cat, I very much appreciated that statement, and he's not wrong. Chopper is kind of like a cat in the sense that, and again, look, I know there are cat lovers out there. I am a cat lover, okay, but I will say also that cats and dogs are very, very different. Okay, cats tend to be more like, yeah, you're here to serve me, human, whereas dogs are a little more faithful to the masters, right? Well, here's Chopper, so he makes these much. I swear he's cursing, but you can't hear it. For those who don't know, it was a kept. There was a really great secret as to who voiced, or who was the person who voiced Chopper, and it turned out at the very end, the very last episode of Rebels, they said is voiced by Dave Filoni. So no spoiler there. Dave Filoni does voice it. I kind of feel like he's just saying actual lines, and then they just distort them to just sound like these little stuff like that. But I just thought this was a kind of a clever thing. They did make a BB-8 one, and no, I'm just going to put it out there. Sorry. I did not get the BB-8 one. Why? Because I don't even know how long these two are going to be in the collection. Okay? I just wanted to have them right now. I said I might put them in the car. For now, I'll find a little spot for them right here on my little side thing. They can kind of look on from the side and judge me accordingly. Okay? But that's kind of just, it's a temporary place for them. But I also like to support Hasbro, because if you stop buying the stuff, they're not going to make it anymore. Okay, I just had an episode last week where I opened up a bunch of custom figures, and that was great. But I'd like to buy licensed figures too. Okay, and I do like to continue to do that. So I hope that Hasbro, but I do recognize that Hasbro needs to, follow up on their bottom line. So as I said, we have a bunch more items here. I'm going to start with this big one here on the bottom, because it's going to only be a partial unbox, and that is another set of Return of the Jedi Jabba Denizens. All right, I gotta hold on to that box because that's gonna be a good box. So we have another set of sail barge figures. We have 4 figures. We have Rees. Let's see, do they have them marked here? I don't believe they even marked them. Well, I know one is Rees. Then there's Tessic, who's like the squid head. Then there's Veltek Taziri. And then Tame Dren Garin. Okay, so those are the 4. Now, this is like actually part of another 4-pack of figures that came out, I guess, last year. Now, ultimately, here they are. They're listed right there. Ultimately, it's nice to be able to take these out and put them on the back of the barge, HasLab sail barge, which I have right over here. I'm not going to do that. I will leave them in their packages. Although I do believe my only complaint. I don't know why they don't do this, but my only complaint is that they don't tell you the VC numbers. Now, I'm sure that if I were, these are just on, you can see they're on their cards, okay, and they're bubble, but they're just one card next to the other, all right, and they just are lined up on the card. I could unbox it and take it out, and I probably end up doing that, just so I know, but, it just shows you that these are, it is getting hard to complete this collection, because this was like something I had to pre-order, and I haven't seen it in stores. Some places they're available, but I haven't seen it. I hope that changes. I've heard rumblings that Toys R Us might be going back to brick and mortar. Maybe in the U.S., we'll see. But even if it does, folks, I mean, the whole collecting pattern with all these years, ever since before COVID, it's been ever since Toys R Us closed, it's been a different genre, a different way to collect. Different set of procedures that you have to follow. So I love the figures. I love the design of the figures, and of course, I'm a sucker for the carded packaging. So I'm just leaving it. I'm leaving them in here because they look cool. Okay, they look cool like this. I already have pretty much all of these figures. Well, definitely a Rees and definitely a Squid Head or Tessic. The other 2, I think I have 1 or 2 of them as well. Meaning loose, that are already on the barge or on the skiff next to the barge. Looks like Kitara, Niktu, Woof, and Salt Marie are the first 4 that came out. So now you have 8, and now you have 2 sets of 4, 8 separate Jabba vintage collection, 3 3/4 inch Jabba Denizens. So No complainers. That is a lot of figures there, right then and there that they released, and you can open them up if you want. All right. So what else we got? We got 3 Entertainment Earths and 1 Target. Let's do the Target first. All right. So in our Target box, we have another deluxe figure. Ooh. We have Luke Skywalker and Grogu, and these from Book of Boba Fett, because yeah. Book of Boba Fett had a 2-episode arc that it was basically just Mandalorian again. Mandalorian season 2.5. I'm not 100% sure why that was, or was it 2.5? Was it a 2.5 arc, or was it just 1? Maybe it was just 1. But no, I think it was 2 because I think he did his whole thing. Whatever, I can't remember. But regardless, I love the deluxe figures. Okay. I have been keeping these in the box right now only really for a very simple reason. I'm a little nervous about losing them. Excuse me. I'm nervous about losing all the pieces. Look at the back. We're talking Barbie dream house here. Look at all the stuff he comes with in this thing. You got your I love the 3. You got 3 floating frogs, right? But then you got 3 regular frogs. 4 regular frogs. You've got his little vest. You've got his little gift that the vest comes in. You've got the backpack, and then you've got Luke and Yoda lightsabers with the blade, and the Luke and Yoda lightsabers without the blade. That is a lot of little pieces that are gonna get lost. To say nothing about the 2 figures, Luke and Grogu. So I already have a Luke and Grogu. I think somewhere there might be another Luke and Grogu with the backpack. Maybe, or that might actually end up being. No, it might just be the sideshow that I want, or the Hot Toys one I'm thinking of, but. I'm going to hold on to this one in the box. Plus, again, it's a vintage style box, so I like that. Speaking of vintage style box, I thought I had another one here. No, that's not it. I'll get to that. Yeah, here it is. Another Book of Boba Fett. Now, this one, Chrysanthemum, okay, again, great figure. I love that they have a 3 3/4. We got our 3 3/4 inch. In fact, it kind of makes another one of my other little rulings that I kind of gave myself was that if a figure becomes a 3 3/4 inch and I already got a Black Series figure, I might part with that Black Series figure. So I don't know what to do because, spoiler alert, we have another Chrysanthemum. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Again, a great figure, a great sculpt. I know we're dealing with the packaging situation, right? You know, no clear window. But in fairness and in defense of Hasbro, I think of the Scanning Trooper. I think of like the Endor Trooper with the Endor Trooper that had a speeder, different equipment and maybe a speeder bike. A lot of them did not. This is the pre-plastic. Anti-plastic packaging, and they've already done that. I think of these like mini rigs, right? Mini rigs were in a box; they weren't on cards. So I don't really mind that they do this, and I do love the art; it's really cool. But look at what it comes with. This is one of those alternative hands. You know, he's got his little, brass knuckles that do the sparks. He's got his ale. Looks like he's got that fruit, and he's got his big rifle. That's a lot for one person to carry. So if I do decide to open up either of these, I'm going to keep these boxes so that I can, store the stuff like I do with some of the Black Series when they come with too many things to hold. But we'll see. The deluxe figures are nice. I understand what they're doing. They're giving you a little extra, charging you a little more for it. Fine. But Chrysanthemum is a pretty big figure, so I sort of get that. Speaking of Chrysanthemum, let's make sure. Before I do that, I just want to make sure I don't. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the big Wookiee in the room. There he is. The Wookiee, the myth, the legend, Chrysanthemum. Such a popular breakout character. I desperately want him to have his own show, or at least to appear. I certainly hope that we see him again. I'm hoping with the Filoni-verse, if we get a movie, big fight against, by the way, at the time of this, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Ahsoka, I'm talking about it. Great show. definitely left us kind of like open-ended. Was never meant to be a final story for Ahsoka. It was just meant to be a story that kind of introduces her as a character on her own to a live-action audience. There is tons of footage and tons of story out there in the canon universe about Ahsoka, and you don't need to do anything else but watch Clone Wars and Rebels to understand that. So if you haven't watched Clone Wars and Rebels, watch it. You don't have to watch all of it. Just find, you can go online. I mean, Eric Voss, New Rockstars, he talks all about some of the great content that you can watch that will be all you need as a prep for watching Ahsoka. But you don't even need that. You can just watch Ahsoka for itself. But just know that it's only a partial story. You're only getting part of the story. People are talking about Season 2. I don't know if Season 2 is even a thing. Because here's why. Season 2, the only thing Season 2 will do is get them back to our universe. For those that don't know, that Ahsoka ended the Season 1 in another galaxy. Alright? Not universe, galaxy, excuse me. Ended up in another galaxy. And they can't just easily get back. So they're stuck there. We know they're coming back, all right? But I want to see an episode where I want to see a movie, which I know that Dave Filoni's been signed on to do, where all the characters, Boba Fett, Chrysanthemum, all the gang, the biker gang, everybody shows up and comes together to fight Thrawn, okay? And his army of like dead stormtroopers or whatever, or dead Night Sisters. But back to Chrysanthemum. I already have a Chrysanthemum. But I don't have this Chrysanthemum. What I have is the comic book version that was actually introduced earlier. He doesn't look like this. He looks like the comic book version. But, in a shrewd move, Hasbro decided to release that because they knew the character was coming, but they weren't able to get the design ready. That's my guess, anyway. So they did that. And it's a nice character. It looks similar, but he's not exact. So I'm excited to have this one. I'm sorry if there's some noise in the background, guys. It should end shortly. It's my washing machine. Hey, gotta use the space, right? All right, so Chrysanthemum, he'll stay in the box because thanks to this, I might not need to unbox this. So we'll hold on to him like there for a bit. And we started with some vintage, and I think we'll end with some vintage. Good old-fashioned Moff Jerjerrod, 284. Trying to think, do I already have this one? Oh no, I think it was a Black Series. Vintage collection, Moff Jerjerrod. If I did already release this one and I have a second one, oops. But I'll have to check. I hope I kind of hope I did, because this one, sadly, the card, I don't know if you can see from the reflection, right up by the peg holder. You can see that little crease there. Sadly, the crease is there. I don't know what to do about it. So. And another thing that's weird about him, look at the way his hat falls on his head. It's like it's not quite on his head. Look at that. It's so weird. So, I love this character. I love Moff Jerjerrod. I kind of think about, when you think of Moff Tarkin, Grand Moff Tarkin, and then you think of Moff Jerjerrod, Tarkin was so commanding, had such a presence, and yet Tarkin was really just kind of like a glorified yes man, So, it was great. And plus, I just read a cool, short story from a certain point of view, Return of the Jedi. Great book, by the way. Great short stories about characters leading up all throughout the story of Return of the Jedi. And Moff Jerjerrod is in there, and it's awesome. He talks about why he is the way he is, and it's great. So, VC 284, great figure. Again, the definitive Moff Jerjerrod. I'll have to check out all the other ones. I'm looking at the face. He definitely has that photo scan. So it's because of the photo scan that I just kind of adopt the vintage collection figures as the ultimate version of these characters. So, but as I've said, I love them. I wish that Disney/Hasbro would put a pause on them for a while, so we can kind of put the collection to bed and give it another 10 years and start redoing it for anybody who wants to start a collection up then. But it's okay. It's great. Return of the Jedi, 40th anniversary. So cool. All right. So that'll do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Like, subscribe, do all that other great stuff. Check out all the other great content on Red 5 Network. Thank you, Red 5, for supporting the channel as always. Until next time, everyone, may the Force and the toys be with you.